I was watching one of Atari 5's older Everything Wrong With videos, particularly the one about Sonic Colors, in which he says this.
Place is epic.
I know Sonic's kind of been a 90s icon and represents everything the 90s were, but when you try to modernize him by making him say words like epic in a time where people were saying it left and right, you're just dating him even more.
Now I get where Atari's coming from here, but I actually don't think it was a bad idea to have Sonic say this. Sonic has always been trying to do new and cool things, and while it's most clear in the 90s, even in things like the 2000s, with skateboarding getting more popular, they doubled down on that. They upped his more rebellious side, running from the cops, let's go, he's me for real. To have Sonic always kind of act like it's the 90s, to me is to make him like a person that peaked in high school, you know? Listen, there's nothing wrong with appreciating your high school years, but life moved forward. Why aren't you, you know? If you keep reminiscing to the old high school days, you'll never be greater than them. Life keeps going on, you'll never be able to trump that if you're just constantly trying to put yourself back in those shoes, you know? And Sonic in the 90s is the same way to me. He should make references to 90s, I mean, he is a 90s icon after all, but you know what I'm saying. Trying stuff that's new has never been an issue with Sonic. The issue comes from when he's out of character doing those things. Let me give you an example. Take the whole nonchalant thing. Playing it cool type shit. Now, Sonic, I'd argue, is pretty nonchalant at times. There's definitely moments in the series where he shows the least amount of care, and there's fucking aura in that. But that's where some people think being nonchalant, they have this view of it being just like having no reactions, no care at all for anything at all times ever. Just every single thing is just like, nah, it's whatever, who cares? And bro, I don't know about that one, man. Like, you ever think maybe we care, we just don't care about what you're talking about? Or sometimes you play things up for the camera just a bit. We wouldn't have any of the internet jumps we have now if we didn't play things up for the camera a little bit, you know? Or I don't know. Sometimes it's like a thing of like, hey, listen, we care, but we don't always show it on our face, you know? Emotion to face, that's like a whole thing, you know? I think Sonic can absolutely... My friends know exactly who I'm talking about when I say this. But I swear, the general view some people have is just this non-caring character about anything ever at all times. Now imagine if Sonic complied to that view. Like, imagine if he stopped doing tricks after homing attacks, because like, nah man, that's too nonchalant. Or fuck, oh nah man, that's too chalant. You know? Or like, if he stopped fucking quipping or something, you know? Like, no, that would be lame, man. Sonic's got style to everything he does. He puts that Sonic style and fucking aura and fucking everything he does, man. That's what Sonic is like. He messes with the idea of not caring. Sure, he has a theme called It Doesn't Matter. He knows how to not care. But he's not going to conform to a generic view of what not caring, nonchalant thing is, bro. He ain't like that. He accepts things on his own level. You know what I mean? He's not going to conform to some generic idea of nonchalantness. He just is nonchalant in his own way. So that's the thing. Sonic doesn't break his character when he's doing this. If Sonic could turn to that generic idea of nonchalantness I talked about, then we would have the issue. So, is that all we gotta do? Have Sonic embrace what's cool and new and fresh and blah blah blah, but just make sure he doesn't break character. Does that sound good to you? Cool. We done here? Nope. You see, another issue with Sonic picking up new things is the idea of just kind of dropping them when they're no longer cool or have had enough room to breathe. Take a look at the parkour system in Sonic Lost World. I always thought this was a great idea for Sonic. Sonic has always been on top of buildings, jumping off of buildings, doing things with buildings. He's always been a building man, you know? I mean, shoot, we might see him talk about racism anytime now. But Sonic has always been doing things around buildings. I'd say it makes a ton of sense for him to do some parkour stuff. So the parkour system in Sonic Lost World, I thought was a great idea. It fit his character, definitely something that he would do. Absolutely. It was pretty popular on YouTube around the time, so shoot, have at it. Of course, after Sonic Lost World, they just immediately dropped the whole idea. I'm like, man, I am not the only one that wants to see this thing come back. I think it fits Sonic's personality perfectly. I actually like the way it looked with the after images and everything. It looked pretty cool. I liked it. Has a lot of potential to do more stuff with later. I mean, Sonic's always running up walls, running down walls, jumping off walls. Come on, man. Parkour fits him perfectly, bro. But of course, the idea was kind of dropped pretty much off the building. Haha. But that's the thing. If you drop something as soon as it's not cool anymore, that's how you get the vibe of chasing trends and always trying to be relevant without building a connection to any of the things you do. And if you don't build if your character isn't building a connection to the things that they do, how do you expect us to build a connection to them? I've been talking about this mainly in the sense of trends and picking up new slang and all this stuff. You know, I gotta say, talking about this stuff really makes me sound older than I am. But this does not solely pertain to fashions and vernacular. Quite the opposite, in fact. Vernacular? Bro, what does vernacular mean? But really, I think this can apply to anything Sonic does, regardless of if it's really like a trend or not. Any new phrase that Sonic says, any new pose that Sonic strikes, any new anything, I feel like it's something that, yeah, they shouldn't drop it after just trying it once. Because while Sonic is always going forward and trying new things, it can be kind of nice to hold on to a phrase or a pose for a little bit, give it a shout out every now and then, you know? If Sonic thinks something is cool, he should do it, regardless of his stance on it, you know? Ever notice how Sonic doesn't really have one main catchphrase or theme or pose or any one iconic thing? He always has a handful of cool things. You might point to "Gotta Go Fast" as his catchphrase, but he doesn't say that in the games. And we're focusing on Game Sonic here. And I'm not gonna lie, "Gotta Go Fast," I feel like it's a good tagline for the series. But as a catchphrase that Sonic actually says, in the face of all the other cool shit that he said, man, I don't know about that. But yeah, Sonic doesn't really have one catchphrase or pose or anything like that. And that's because he's always really trying something new, and I've already talked about how I think that's the strength of his character. It gives people different things to relate to him on. You know, you might really like the "don't be late" phrase.
Now then, let's do it to it.
I'm a fan of the careful.
Where's the fun in that?
That's a particularly good one. You might like the Sonic Adventure pose that he always striking, which, I gotta say, really got popularity after Sonic Generations. Like, I feel like there's so many mods and things that just, like, always show off that pose, like, alright, we get it. But yeah, if you enjoy it, I ain't taking it away from you. He's hitting all kinds of cool poses, doing all kinds of cool things, and I feel like that's a strength to Sonic as a whole. Sonic's got an inventory of things he can pull, you know? Not just in things he does, but also in places he visits, and also things like that, you know what I'm saying? But when you start picking up all of these little things everywhere, you start to get a pretty big repertoire, pretty big list of things. And if you don't want to drop things right away, like I said earlier, you might run into the issue that a lot of series kind of run into, of just having this checklist of things that you gotta go through every time, and that's no good. So should Sonic be going down the same path? Every single game you gotta just have a whole checklist of things to have? Nah. If you start referencing everything every second all the time, that's gonna start stressing you out. Holding on to every single thing you come across, yeah, that'll get you too many things, man. That'll be too much to take care of. Referencing things is fine, and definitely has its place. It can make the world definitely feel more real, like Sonic fought a time in Sun God. He's not gonna forget that, man. The music was going crazy, no one's forgetting that moment in Sonic history. So it makes sense, Sonic would remember and call back to it, and bring things up again. Y'all know Aldo Boy, he makes these fire edits, so anything he says has to be true. We all know that's the rule. If you make a fire edit when you say something, that thing's instantly true.
And another thing that we don't talk about, isn't this the Egg Dragoon? Eggman created this mechanical dragon in his efforts to thwart Sonic, putting years of research into the Hedgehog's movement patterns to use in its design. It represents the absolute pinnacle of mad science.
And Now the boy said that Sonic is an episodic series. I really like that aspect of the series because I think it parallels Sonic himself. See, Sonic doesn't feel the need to chase every trend. He just kind of picks up what's interesting to him, and honestly, he's not afraid to only take half of a trend, you know what I mean? Because of Sonic's episodic nature, it kind of lets you do the same. You can just pick up whatever Sonic game that's interesting to you. You can drop them halfway through if you're not interested anymore. You don't have to play through every game or watch every piece of media around the series to understand what's going on. And with Sonic being episodic, it helps with that whole vibe of him always picking up new things, going on new adventures, and having new things to do all the time, because he's never settling, always moving forward, no matter what, yeah? I think we like references because of that norm. Sonic is always going on a new adventure, doing a new thing, so that when he actually stops and goes, yo, remember that? You're like, shoot, I do remember that, Sonic! And there you go. And it's pretty nice to throw back every now and then. But the issue comes when these throwbacks become more and more frequent, to the point where you feel like you're missing out when every single line is delivered with the, yo, remember Sonic CD? Sonic's always doing something new, it's part of his character, so that when you keep bringing old locations and things back, it can be a bit much. Like I said, they have their place to make it feel like the world is an interconnected thing and things just aren't thrown away and forgotten as soon as they're not relevant anymore. Sound familiar? But I also think that you can go too far in the other direction. And like I said at the beginning, Sonic should never be living in the past. Be like Sonic. He's always ready for the future. Pick up new things, have new adventures. But don't be afraid to hold on to things for a little bit and watch them grow. Give them a chance to really get somewhere, you know? Watching something grow and evolve can be really gratifying in its own way. So hold on to things. Don't drop things out of fear for holding on to them for too long. But when it's time and it starts weighing you down, make sure to let it go. Start something new. And hell, maybe you'll run into that thing again. Cross paths once more. And that's how Sonic is. Holds on to things, but when it's time, moves on to the next adventure. Alright, that's all I got for you. I'm gonna see y'all later. Keep on trying your best, y'all. Give yourself that credit. Peace out.